welcome everybody to episode 7, I think now, of How Do You Brew? My name's Gideon from 00DIY, and with me today is Timothy, aka Morning Crush. Hey, how you doing, Morning
Hello.
Crush?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. I was just saying, I feel like a sort of CIA agent with this in my ear. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I should have a different sort of headphone in so that it doesn't get feedback. But there we go. I think we can cope with it.
It's doing the job. It's doing the job.
Okay, cool.
Well, are you a coffee drinker, or I say
Yeah.
I started this to be about coffee, but like I keep having people on who like don't really drink that much coffee, so I'm just now it's just more like a hot drinks kind of situation.
Yeah,
are you
sure.
Are you a coffee person?
Yes, I drink a lot of coffee, and it's kind of weird. I've had this. I used to be that guy who was like, "It's just fucking coffee." Do you know what I mean? It's just coffee. Like, why are you so snobby about it? And I remember I went for coffee with my friend. He was like, "You've got to try this coffee and that coffee." I was like, "It's just coffee?" And then it reminds me of that David Mitchell rant when he says that. It's like, "Isn't it all coffee? Doesn't it all just taste like coffee?" But now, as I sort of creep through my 20s, I'm turning into, I flipped a little bit, and I like a good coffee now. I've got a cafetiere and anything. I don't touch instant anymore unless I'm really desperate.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, that's good to hear. Do you buy grounds or beans? Do you grind your own? Like, talk me through.
Oh no,
not that far.
Not that far. No, and I think that's just because I don't know. There's better things to spend time on. But I basically just get the best looking coffee in Sainsbury's for under a tenner, put it in my French press, and I'll drink like a whole pot every morning, and that's probably quite bad. I have a whole cafetiere. I don't know how common that is. I haven't surveyed.
But I mean, is that like over the course of a morning, or is that just like you just like, fill the cup up and you're just like, yep, that one's done. Next one.
If I'm not at work, it's like between 9 and 11. I'll have a whole one. I'll really just chain it down. But then I couldn't do that with like an Americana that I'm buying in a cafe, because that's just a million times stronger.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And more expensive as well.
Yeah,
to drink that
exactly.
Much,
I've saved so much in this pandemic from not going to Costa every day. Do you know how much? Do you know, like? I must have spent about 40 quid a week more on just lattes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if they're like £2.50 and you have like four a day, 3 a day, something like that.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
It's wild. Yeah.
Are you you're Kingston? You live in Kingston. Do you work in Kingston? You certainly.
Yeah.
I've seen you gig in Kingston. That's
Yeah. I was born and raised around this area. I live here, and I work at Banquet Records.
Yeah.
And I live right in the middle of Kingston, around the corner from work. So I'm very Kingston.
Very Kingston. Have you been to Beanbury in Kingston?
Yes, I have. It's great. Beanbury.
So,
for ages I called that Mr. Bean, because I thought...
Really?
Yeah, I just got in my head. I have no idea why I got in my head that it was called Mr. Bean. I used to say to my friends, "Let's go to Mr. Bean," and they'd be like, "What are you talking about, Mr. Bean? Isn't that a TV show?" But yeah, no, Beanbury's good.
Yeah, it's the best. It's possibly the thing that actually got me into coffee. So,
really, wow.
Yeah, shout out Beanbury if anyone from Beanbury is watching. I'd love to have you on. So,
yeah, exactly. I think they owe me about $5,000 for saying that as well. So I need to chase them up.
Yeah, I would. So as I said, you're sort of Kingston local, and I met you at open mic night in Henry's in just over the river.
Yeah, Hampton Court. Yeah, man.
But
I've been meaning to go there for a while, but and then I did.
Well, there you go. And you met me, and the rest is history. But how long have you been sort of like playing in and around Kingston and beyond? Because you're doing Morning Crush, and you've got some music out. I've seen your Australian Sun video like everywhere. Like every time I open Facebook, I could see it. So
yeah, I'm just I've got to shout. You just got to constantly shout about it, haven't you? Because everything's so people's attention spans because there's so much new music. If you're not constantly going, listen to my single now, then they'll just forget about you. Yeah. I've been playing in Kingston I guess since I was, about 13 or 14. So quite a while. And without saying how old I am now, that's quite a long time. And yeah, I started out like, do you know how I actually first started? I was walking along Kingston High Street, and there used to be this guy there called John. He's this little guy. He used to stand on top of the bin and just scream like Beatles songs and Oasis songs. And I was once walking past, I must have been 13, and I'd finished like my guitar lesson.
Yeah.
And he just started shouting at me like, hey you, go over it. I was terrified because he must have been about 19 or 20. So he was like this older guy. He was like, play me a song now. And I was like, okay. And so I just played this awful guitar riff of Green Day, Time of My Life. And he sort of drunkenly sung along to it. And anyway, yeah, I kept meeting up with this guy John, just to busk. And I started playing lead guitar for him. And then I'd never really sung, but he got me to sing. He was like, you have to sing. I know you can sing. He was absolutely just off the rails in the loveliest way possible. And I was like, no, I'm not going to sing, John. I'm not going to sing. He said, if you don't sing, I'm going to punch you in the face. He said that to me. He was like, I am going to punch you in the face if you don't sing. And I was just like, I'm not singing. And he punched me in the face. Like, not like jokingly, punched me in the face, this guy. And so I sung, and I was awful. But it actually got me out my shell. I'm not advocating punching people in the face. This guy was... No, good. And anyway, yeah, so I played with him for a while, and then I just started going to open mics, and, I started getting really confident with it. I was, playing all the time, and I haven't really stopped since then. I just love it. It's my entire life. It's really good. And this guy, John, I haven't heard from him in a while, but last time I saw him, he was in prison. He just got out of prison. And the reason he went to prison was because he took some acid, and he was busking, and he took some acid, and he saw a guy and smashed the guitar over his head. And I said, why did you do it? And he was like, well, I was on acid. I thought it was a giant spider. So, wow. So that's the last of that guy. I shouldn't, yeah, I don't know. I shouldn't reminisce too much about those days because yeah. Anyway, so that's my story.
Wow, that's a good story, man. I that's what an origin story. And that's probably the wildest one yet. You said you work at Banquet Records, which is it's probably one of the most famous, if not the most kind of well-known independent record stores in the UK, surely. Do
you know what? I don't know enough about record stores in the UK in terms of, but it's definitely a name. I was really honoured when I got asked to work there. I was really excited, and it's great to work in music, because like in working at Banquet Records, I'll go do my music, and then I would just be sitting at a desk selling like software or something to people, just really mind-numbing, soul-destroying work. And I don't know, it's just nice to be around records. It's nice to be around bands. Not at the moment, obviously, there's no gigs, but it's a great job. I love all of them who work there. It's really good.
It's cool. And you're also really involved in new slang nights as well, weren't you? Or are you?
Yeah, well, that's my main. Well, at Banquet, the live music side of it is my main job. So I shake the tour manager's hands and help set up the gig and look after everyone, make sure they're happy. That was kind of my main thing at Banquet. But then the pandemic hit, and I was basically just completely out of work. I was just sitting at home. But then my boss, John Tolley, different John, not the guy I was talking about earlier, John Tolley, who runs Banquet, he called me in to do some work in the shop, and which I'm so grateful for, man. Like without him, I would just be at home in a flat by myself, messing around on my guitar, So I go in and I help pack up records, and I help, doing bits and bobs that need to be done for delivery stuff.
Yeah. Cool, man. Who's the like most famous person you've met, do you reckon, in your time at? If you can disclose such valuable information.
No, of course I can. Do you know what I do about, and this sounds like I'm bragging, but I'm not. It's just mathematical fact. At Banquet, I do about way over 200 gigs a year. Actually, about 200 a year, I'd say. That's an estimate. I wouldn't know exactly how much. And you just meet so many people that it's hard to remember. But off the top of my head, like I've. The Who. We've done shows with Sum 41, Blink 182, Craig David. Billie Eilish. Yeah, just loads of shows. It's a great fun job.
Yeah, no, it's cool, and some really cool shows as well.
Yeah,
like you said,
yeah.
like the Who, and I saw Hobo Johnston and the Lovemakers. That was my last,
Oh,
probably
yeah,
my last
great.
gig that I went to actually, which feels like a long time ago now.
Yeah.
There you go. Cool. Let's talk about your music. And you talked about kind of how you got into playing and stuff. Have you got a record that was really significant? I put like changed your life in the questions, I think, but like something that you feel really inspired you to like write music, or just something you really liked, or I mean, I know you've talked about
of course,
kind of how you got into playing.
I mean, like it's so hard to name one.
Yeah.
Because at different points in my life, different, like Frank Turner's Love Iron Song that made, and Poetry of the Deed, that they made a huge difference when I was a sort of loud teenager who didn't really fit in, and I listened to those two albums, and yeah, they really inspired me a lot. A lot of Bright Eyes stuff. I'm Wide Awake It's Morning, Lifted, and in recent years, Neil Young has sort of, I've always kind of been into him, but then I delved, and like the classics, like the Harvest Moon album.
Yeah.
It's so inspiring. Joni Mitchell, Blue, Blonde on the Tracks, Bob Dylan. A lot of the very obvious ones. It would be impossible. I could talk forever to talk about.
Have you got a Neil Young tattoo? I feel like you've got a Neil Young tattoo.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to.
Okay.
Now that you said that, you just sparked something in my head. It's gonna happen. All right. Yeah.
Nice. That's cool. So loads and loads of stuff there then. If you, I'm not super familiar with. I mean, a bit of Bright Eyes and Conor Oberst and stuff. Maybe I'm not really super familiar with anyone else you talked about. But so
yeah.
Go. Is there what is it then? Talk about Neil Young and Harvest Moon. Like, kind of what is it about his sound that kind of drew you to him, and in what's so gripping about it?
I mean, it's just beautiful, isn't it? Like, he's just a workhorse. He's constantly putting out new stuff. He's constantly experimenting, and you'll discover an album like from 2005. Just a really this is kind of a weird year. I don't know why. It's just a random number. But I sort of got into Prairie Wind. I think the album's called Prairie. And it's just stunning, and you just constantly come across stuff like that, and it's just like, I'll have these moments. I was chatting about this with Tom Worth the other day, he's a local singer-songwriter. Just check him out, he's really good. And we have the same thing. We'll be writing, and we'll get really depressed, like, oh, this is just not getting anywhere. Do you know what I mean? And we'll throw the book away, and we'll sulk on the sofa, and then we'll put on Neil Young, and we'll just get so inspired, like, this is so good and so simple. Like, how does he do this? And I don't know what it is, man. Like, I think he sort of made me realise that I've always been, for so many years, I was punk or folk punk, or I was sort of a guy who just sort of shouted lyrics or sort of talked lyrics. And I was sort of kind of stuck in that for a long time. And then I heard Harvest Moon, and I heard Freedom, and I was like, there's that song Old King, about his dog that died, and I was like, songs can be about anything, and they can be any style you want, and I can sing if I want, and I can have a nice voice if I want. I don't have to just do folk punk music. It's it really was just really opened my eyes. And the fact that he was sort of, I think he was in his 40s or late 30s when he wrote Rockin' in the Free World, like one of his biggest, most powerful hits, which was on Freedom. And it was just kind of like, he's a guy who just never let anything affect his sort of creative drive. He just did what he wanted to do constantly, and he only did it if he thought it was great, and that really inspired me a lot, especially when I was in my mid-20s, and I was like, oh God, am I still doing this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you have those moments, and yeah.
What about then a gig that really impacted your life, either one that you like played or one that you went to, maybe even one that you worked at?
Do you know what? Nile Rodgers at Prism, which was a banquet gig we put on, It's not my type of music at all. It's not something I would normally listen to. But oh my god, that was one of the best gigs I've ever seen. It was just so powerful, and the band were incredible. If you haven't, if you haven't seen Nile Rodgers, there's something about it. It was one of the best gigs I've ever watched. But it wasn't really my sort of music in terms of like my music. I'd have to go with seeing Neil Young at Hyde Park year before last. He played with Bob Dylan, and when I saw Conor Oberst in his hometown of Omaha, Nebraska. That was really special. That was really, really special. It's hard to say really. I go to so many shows, but there have been a few that really stood out, and those are some of them. I think Frank Turner's brilliant live. You know what? I've never seen Bruce Springsteen, but he's what I imagine Bruce. How, you know what I mean? That sort of community feel, like you sort of let go of everything for 2 hours, and that's how I felt when I've watched Frank Turner. And I watched him at Wembley Arena in 2012. It was him, Billy Bragg, Scroobius Pip, and Beans on Toast, and that was such a powerful gig for me.
That's cool. And you recently did you get some music on a playlist that Frank Turner?
Frank Turner put my latest single, not my latest single, couple of singles of mine on his Artist to Watch 2021 playlist, which was a huge honor. I was like, I was so happy when that happened. Because he's such an inspiration, and he mixed one of the songs, and we're working on. We just finished actually another single that he's produced, and I'm really excited to release that. That's probably gonna be in the next couple of months.
Are you just sort of like recording stuff and then sending it to him, or is he actually? Are you guys?
It's different. One of the singles he just mixed. It was kind of like the first single. He was kind of like, I'm getting into mixing, and I was like, I was recording this stuff before the pandemic. Then the pandemic hit, so I just had all these stems lying around. So I was like, here you go, have fun. And he came back with, it was Better Friend, and he came back with that single, and I was like, wow, maybe I can release this, because it was only ever meant to be a demo.
Yeah.
And then it came back like that, and I was like, this is releasable. So I just re-recorded the vocals, because they were just sort of demo scratch vocals, and we just released it like that. But with the one we're doing now, he did the full arrangement. I just sent him the chords, guitar and vocals, and he's just bloomed it into something stunning. So I'm so stoked with what he's done with it. I can't wait to release it.
That's really cool. That's really, really cool. And you said Beans on Toast, because you've like supported Beans on Toast at a banquet show, right?
Yeah, years ago. Like 2013 or 2014. Okay. Yeah, around then. That was fun. He's a great guy. Isn't he? Yeah. He's jokes, and he's so lovely, and it's another thing where it's like a lot of the time, like his songs are so simple, and a lot of the time that's what's so powerful about music. You know, people. Me, definitely, I spend so much time, overcomplicating my chords, and then it just ends up dog shit. And, some of Beans on Toast songs bring me to tears, and it's just E, A, B. And it's just standard, like, storytelling, how it should be, how folk music should be. Yeah. It's great. I'm a huge fan.
There's something, isn't there, about, like, people describe music as kind of, it's not just, it's like, there's something kind of all-encompassing about it in a kind of, like, spiritual way. Like, it's not just hearing a really good story, or hearing a really good, hearing someone play a musical instrument really well. But there's something about the way those things kind of come together that just kind of gives it like another dimension, which you can't like necessarily say put your finger on and go, that's it, like that's the thing. But it can just be so like inspiring and
yeah man, for real. No, totally agree. It's one of the things actually, and I've read about. I think it was Leonard Cohen who said it. He's a huge idol of mine. He was like, "Songwriting is the only true form of magic." Like, and, not songwriting, but creating art. In the context songwriting, because no one knows, and I mean no one. No matter how many YouTube videos you watch, like here's 5 tips on how to write a great song. No one knows how to write a great song. Not Bob Dylan, not Ed Sheeran. No one knows how to write a great song. It just happens, and it comes from somewhere that you can't explain. And Leonard Cohen said that is the only true form of magic. There's no formula to it. There's no way. So I sort of get in a trance when I come up with a good song, and then it's like, oh my god, where did that come from? Like, yeah. And then the shit songs are the ones that I spend weeks and weeks and weeks like, oh, maybe if I put the and the and the t like that. And do you know what I mean? It's oh. And then you build it up and they become good, but the really great songs, like, I don't know where they came from. And as Leonard Cohen also said, if I knew where good songs came from, I'd go there more often. Yeah. Very true. Yeah.
I always think, and maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I always think like Ed Sheeran, like I'm not really like into it, but I appreciate the music is good, but I'm always like, well, he is good at guitar, but that's not what it is, and he is good at writing songs, but that's not what it is. But there's something about the way that he brings those things together. That's what kind of makes him good. Like, regardless of like how you feel about this, like whether you actually like it, like there's something kind of objectively good about what he produces. And
absolutely,
and it's but all of it's not like there's like a missing element. Like, it's not just like add all the parts together and you get like a really good song. It's like something kind of else is there. It's that, like, the magic, like you were talking about.
Yeah, for real. And like, I love some Ed Sheeran songs. No, I wouldn't say he's my cup of tea. Like, a lot of his stuff I'm not that into, but he's definitely doing something right.
Yeah.
But like Small Bump, I think that's an incredible song. Yeah, I could name the one he did on his I think it was either his most recent album or the one before, but Eraser, and he did a version of that on SBTV, and it's the longer version, and that's banging. Like, that is a stunning song. I think a lot of songwriters I jokingly make pops at Ed Sheeran, like, and it's never serious. Like, it's, as if he gives a shit anyway.
Yeah.
I think there's sort of a thing where it's like, if you're a guy with a guitar singing love songs, it's like Ed Sheeran.
Yeah. Do
you know what I mean? And I think that does bug a lot of songwriters. Yeah. But that's just the way it is, isn't it? I don't really care. It's just, it's all tongue in cheek. I'm definitely a wind-up merchant at times, and I think I should, just because I'm only saying that because I have jokingly sort of made pops at Ed Sheeran in the past, and I don't want anyone to think I'm being serious or actually give a shit. I think he's a great songwriter, and
Ed, if you're watching, we'd love to have you over for
give us a. If you're watching, Ed, I'd love to do some sort of collaboration with you. I can beatbox quite well.
Yeah, cool, man. Moving on then. I just want to say you talked about lots of really inspiring gigs that you've been to. Have you got a gig that maybe was not inspiring? Like, maybe potentially like the worst gig you've ever been to.
Do you know what? I struggle to... So I've made myself a promise to just stop being down on other artists. Okay. But I can't... honestly, because when a gig isn't that enjoyable, I just don't watch it. I'll just go to the bar, or I'll just sort of leave if I'm at a festival. And that's why I actually struggled to... I just try not to get that involved in things I don't enjoy, Yeah. It's like people who sort of leave sort of comments on people's songs saying they don't like it. It's like, what? Why? Just don't watch it.
Yeah. No one's
like, I don't know, I think your voice is shit. Okay. Well done. What are you happy now? Like,
yeah.
Just go watch Adele or someone that you do like,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it weirds me out. But yeah, no, I honestly can't think. And I have tried.
Well, I just want to commend you for that's a very wholesome answer to that question, and
it's probably a bit pretentious, wasn't it?
No, not pretentious. Not pretentious. I think that's there's so much, like you said, there's so much negativity, and there's so much kind of stuff in the world that isn't good. Like, why spend time talking about it if it doesn't actually matter?
Imagine if they see it. Imagine if I'm like, oh yeah, like AC/DC was shit, and like I've never seen AC/DC. That's just an example, but imagine that, like they're just at home, just having a cup of tea, and they're scrolling through YouTube, and they're like, oh, that guy from Kingston thinks we're shit. Let's quit.
Yeah, they make like AC/DC quit because Tim O.T. makes like flyaway comment or whatever.
It might hurt their feelings. I don't want to hurt people's feelings. Just for the record, I quite like AC/DC. That was just an example.
That's a good.
If you're watching AC/DC, I'm a great beatboxer.
Come on the pod.
Yeah.
So tell me a bit about the music that you write. I feel like when I met you, you were just starting to launch Morning Crush, and you had written some new songs, and you kind of had a new name, and you kind of knew like what's where kind of how have you got to that point, and then kind of what inspires you to like write songs. Thinking about the songs that you've written, maybe recently.
Well, Morning Crush sort of started. I met a producer, Chris Hope. He was the guitar tech for Circle Waves. He does some stuff with Bella and Sebastian and Echo and the Bunnymen as well. And we were just hanging out. He was backstage and I was backstage, and he was just playing. He was playing Def Cab for Cutie on guitar, and I was like, oh, I like Def Cab for Cutie. And then we just got chatting. Yeah. And he told me about how he's built a studio, and he's got a kid and a wife, and I think he was looking for business to sort of spend less time on the road and more time at home. And I was looking for business to spend more time on the road, and so it's kind of cool that way. So we ended up hooking up and making tracks together, and a lot of the songs have been sitting around for a while. A lot of them were new. And I just sort of wanted a new way to portray them, because I used to play under my solo name, which is Tim O.T., which is my surname abbreviated. And like when I started that, like the traction I got at the start was all based around protest music, and I was a cocky 19-year-old. I mean, I'm still a little bit cocky, but not, I've definitely calmed down a bit. When it started, I was this cocky 19-year-old. I was going to protests. I was shouting songs about the royal family. I was hugging police officers. I was that guy, and I don't connect with that guy anymore. Sure. And the name was kind of associated with that, whereas the songs I'm writing at the moment are a bit more like, about other things like depression, anxiety, mental health problems, life as a person in his mid-20s, and so I just felt a bit of a disconnect from my old name, so I changed the name to Morning Crush and started releasing music under that. I just kind of wanted to take a step back from what people knew me as before, and I wanted to do something new. I hope that answers. Yeah,
that's a really good answer. And you've got like all the social media channels and the Spotify, and as I say, you just put this song out, Australian Sun, which the video. I was because of the timing. Like, did you go to Australia to film any of that, or did someone film that and send that over to you?
That would be quite dedication. Like,
well, I just wondered if it had been like a pre-COVID thing where you'd like gone out there and filmed a bunch of stuff. And
I would love to. No, I'm just picturing that in my head. Like, should we fly to Sydney to film? I've got a friend in Australia, Darcy Benham. She's a dancer. She choreographs dances as well. And we sort of came up with this idea of her choreographing a dance for Australian Sun in Australia, and sort of link it in with me singing the song in London. And so her and her mate filmed the footage in Australia, and I filmed the footage in London, and we edited it together. And she's so good. Like, she's so talented. I never thought I would have a dance to one of my songs, because you don't kind of get that with sad folk music, it's not something I thought I would do, but she did it and it worked brilliantly. Like, it worked really, really well. I'm really happy with it.
Great, man. Tim, thank you so much for being here and talking to me.
No,
it's
cool.
Really nice to see you and see your face, and it's nice
great to see you, man.
And
It's been good fun. Thank you.
And make sure, Tim, what are your socials, just quick, so that we can definitely
Facebook's Morning Crush Music. Twitter is Morning Crush with a 0 for the O.
Right.
Instagram's Tim Morning Crush. TikTok is Morning Crush Music.
Great. All right. Well, without further ado, Morning Crush.
Cool. So this is. Let me just make sure this is turned up properly. So this is my latest single, and it's called Australian Sun.
Summer days I remember, like you and me just getting by. You used your words like an anchor that got me so used to the tide. So happy winter, you Australian sun. You'll never know quite what you are. And I hope that you never find out quite what it is to be this side of you. We threw stones at the moonlight, and you drilled holes in my boat. We stayed awake scanning tragedies for them little songs of hope. So happy winter, you Australian sun. You'll never know quite what you are. And I hope that you never find out quite what it is to be this side of you. I'm still walking around, dressing up for you, looking forward to those get-togethers we will never get. I'm still dancing around like it's summertime. Summer days I remember, some I try to forget. So happy winter, you Australian sun. You'll never know quite what you are. And I hope that you never find out quite what it is to be this side of you.
This is a song called Peaceful Mind.
All I really want is a peaceful mind, for the evening to show some soul before it dies. Running from my own design, praying for a peaceful mind. I'm in minor again, and my eyes are glued like flies to the screen. Sleeping with anyone and praying no one sees inside my dreams. I'm watching quirky little films that make the sickness look so cute. I'm smoking smoke again, and I don't care where I get it from. I'm writing words again instead of making proper song. And someone told me that I could separate my mind and brain. I wish they told me before I learned to let it rain. Don't ask me where I've been. Somewhere there's a peaceful mind. Somewhere